So recently I worked a little bit on a couple projects with Freeplay Tech, and this is one. This is the Zero, Freeplay Zero with the Pi Zero 2. And my part has been to help design the parts that go around the kit. So 3D printed parts, the lens and the shell. This is actually my first real parametric CAD project, designing the thing in full CAD. So it's, it's pretty cool. It's kind of surreal for me to get this actual metal shell. Just got this in the mail, and I can't not do a video of putting it together for the first time. I put it together, hundreds of times in using my 3D printed test print, but it's the first real one. So yes, kind of really excited about this. Some things are going to be a little bit different, I think, than the actual release, because this board, is older. Been working with this for a little while. Missing some things like the speaker connector on the side. Not a big deal. My next, so I'm going to do a basic build of it right now, and I'll probably do another one with some added features in there. And at that time, I just solder in the speaker. No big deal for me. I got some extra buttons on here. Over the course of working things out, I've just tried different buttons, and I'm just leaving them like that for now. Kind of gotten used to having two different buttons, clickies on top and the softs on the bottom. But the actual kit's going to come with something like this, multiple button sets for people to try out, whatever you like. And I've made the button sets here the color. So we have gray. You can do all the buttons gray, and with black accent bonus pieces. I kind of like that. I black out the things that are beyond GBA. At least that seems to make sense. Seems to look cool to me anyways for now. And the difference would be, I'm still working on these. Everybody I've showed these to, they don't really like them, concave buttons. So that's not really in the kit, and I'm just working these out, trying to make them prettier. I don't really have the process to make them pretty enough just yet. So that'll be one. The little differences like that. So one of the hardest things has been not including every single feature, crazy, dumb idea into this and making like a Homer Simpson's car. No matter how cool that car really was and how ahead of its time it was, by the way. It's probably better to provide cool options and features and be able to dial them in really well. I think we did that. So starting with the buttons, without removing any of the button options that there have been, we added the north, south, east, west locations for the metal shells. That's pretty cool. The shell, yeah, right about here, something like this. This is about the screenshot that I had on all of my devices for a long time to show the curves. And yeah, because there's a lot of work. I put about maybe 15 iterations in just the battery bump here. So yeah, I think that's a feature. I think the default build of this, the default setup is probably stereo speakers in the front with the speaker grills, and that's if you don't want analog sticks. If you don't like analog sticks, you don't have to have them. I'm not judging you. Maybe you don't like them. Not a big deal. But if you do want them, you can put those speakers in the rear instead, freeing up these openings here for other things, or just one. Maybe you just want one. So these are pretty cool, I think. Now, I made them that large for several reasons. The first one, so you're putting a PSP analog stick in there, right? And if you do, I've made these little brackets to help hold it in place. So that kind of helps hold it in place and make it easy to wire and to press it in place when you close all the shell together. But I want that to look like it's supposed to be there. I don't want it to be looking like an afterthought or standing out. So here we have full range of motion on the PSP stick. You can use the dust cover on the PSP stick, and it looks like it's supposed to be there. At least to me, it looks like that. That's one of the main things. So another thing, let's say you want to use Joy-Cons. This is kind of a bonus compatibility. So I've got some tack on the back of this to help me hold it in place, just to show you guys. So you put a Joy-Con in here. You could press it all the way up and have a really tall Joy-Con. Some people might like that. Maybe you love that. I personally don't. I like it to be pressed down in place as much as possible, recessed into the shell as much as possible. So in that case, it would look more like that. Actually, the tact takes up a little bit of space, so even a little bit lower, and that wide opening gives full range of motion. So in this case, like I'm gonna build this as a default setup for now with the speakers. And I'll probably do another one, and I'm guessing what this is gonna need is just a little bracket to go on the inside here to both clean up the open area a little bit, and to press the Joy-Con down onto the board. I'll print a little something in TPU for that. When the time comes, some nice little bonus compatibility there. Shoulder buttons are pretty cool. These are printed in ASA material, and if you don't know, that is like a strong material, very strong. It's not flexible either. So that's what this squiggly line is about. I don't know, is that technically a compliant mechanism? My brain just tells me to call everything compliant mechanism because it sounds so cool. Whatever the case is, it makes it work. And those are the single buttons. You can do dual shoulder buttons if you like, both in gray if you want to. I just thought that the black accent would be kind of a cool option. Screen, massive update there. So looking forward to getting that in the metal shell. It looks great in my 3D printed plastic test shells. These are some printed brackets for the screen and battery. These springs, I call them, hold the battery in place a bit. You'll see when I put it together in a second. Same goes with the screen and battery. Let's see, I'm gonna put just a speaker in there for now, just as a placeholder. I'm gonna solder that in place. Like I was saying, my board doesn't have the connection right now. I'm not worried about it. Oh yeah, the one last thing I think before I get going is the power slider. This power slider is pretty cool, and it does the job really well. But if you press down on this little lever, you press down or you pull it up, you know, it can break. It's not meant to take the force like that. So I guess it's kind of a good idea to get it all put together and leave the power slider button off of there until you test everything out, then just crack the back open again and just drop it in place. So if you have to pull things out, put it back in, because it doesn't really happen a lot, but it did happen once to me where somehow I kind of put it on the edge like that and just crushed it. You got to break something, but you can save yourself from breaking if you just don't. I'm not exactly sure about the standoffs, but I've angled one side so the Pi will sit at a slight angle, and I've shortened the threaded side a little bit so it doesn't go through either one of the boards and conflict with either the shoulder buttons or the shell. couple quick things. The battery, I think, is going to be oriented like this for a few reasons. One being that these flaps are pointed down and out of the way, kind of ensures that they don't become pinched when you close the shell together. Also, if you have a speaker in the rear, you want to make sure your ABXY solder spikes are flattened out so they don't short on the back of the speaker. So the first time you load it up, it's going to run you through like assigning each button and then analog sticks and everything. I've already done that. So the idea for the ergonomic back is you have a couple positions. One, I like to have my fingers on top of the bump like this, or you can kind of put them right in the cradle. You know what's funny? I remember playing this on the original DMG whenever I was a little kid. When I got to this part, I remember it being kind of hard. I was like, how am I going to make that jump? It's pretty cool. So I think that's about it for now. This is just a basic, quick look at how I set up my default build here. I'm going to play around with this some more. I have a lot of things that I want to do to this. I'm going to play around. First, I'm going to put in some analog sticks. I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to play around with all the different silicone pad options, like for the D-pad, all the different button options, and really kind of put them through the paces and see what I really prefer. Right now, as a default setup, though, it's pretty good. And I've even gotten used to my weird setup of having clickies on top and stops on the bottom. So I'm happy with all that. But another thing is I have some ideas for some mods for this. And that's actually, you know what? I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't talk about mods right now. It might make sense just to say that for a little bit later. Potential mods. Yeah, because I got a few kind of cool ideas I want to try out. And if you guys have any ideas, maybe if you want to hit me up with those, and then we can hang out about mods or anything really. So that's about that. I appreciate it. Appreciate you watching.